Life is hard, but we often make it harder by being unkind to ourselves. And it's not like we wake up in the morning and think, I'm going to make my life suck today. It's that we've got patterns and messages on a subconscious level that influence us to make decisions that might not necessarily be in our best interest. Changing those patterns and messages requires a lot of work over a long period of time. But one easy and simple thing we can do is make the decision to start being a little bit kinder to ourselves. So here's 5 easy ways you can be kinder to yourself every day. The first easy way you can be kinder to yourself is to give yourself enough time to do things. Do you often underestimate how long a task will take, and so you have to stay up late and overwork just to get it done by the deadline? Or do you often not quite give yourself enough time to get to places, so you end up having to rush and run just to arrive on time? It's exhausting, right? I used to do this a lot. I used to be the sort of person who hated dead time, time where I wasn't being productive. So I would always optimize any task or any journey to give myself the exact right amount of time. If I thought a task would take me 2 days to complete, I gave myself 2 days to do it. If I thought a journey would take me an hour, I gave myself an hour to complete it. And despite having perfectly planned the exact right amount of time, I often found myself sprinting to finish tasks on time and to arrive at places punctually. Normal, everyday activities that shouldn't require much effort became exhausting for me because I wasn't giving myself enough time to do them. And then if something genuinely urgent came up, I was already tired, so it was just that extra bit of effort to try and get that done too. The issue here was pretty obvious. I didn't give myself any buffer. If something didn't go exactly as planned, I was screwed. And most of life doesn't go exactly as planned. So it's not inefficient to give yourself buffer time, it's being smart. And more importantly, it's being kind to yourself. Not giving yourself enough time to do things is self-abuse. You overexert yourself when you stay up late or overwork to get something done. You humiliate yourself if you say you're going to be somewhere or do something on time and then you don't. When you set unrealistic time frames, other people start to think that you're unreliable and you start to think that you're incompetent. But neither of those things is true. You're just not very good at guessing how long things are going to take to do. If you frequently give yourself too short of a time frame, get curious about why. What do you gain by setting yourself an unrealistically short deadline? And what do you avoid? When I looked at this for myself, I found out that I was people-pleasing. I knew the other person would be happy if I told them that I could do the task very quickly, and it would also feed my ego's sense of being better than other people. I also knew that I would avoid the other person pushing back and trying to make me do the task quicker, which would have made me feel uncomfortable. I was basing my time frames on what I thought other people wanted, rather than what was best for me and what was actually doable. And I realized I was doing this so that I could protect that little anxious part of myself that was scared of being exposed that it wasn't enough. The long-term solution to this is to get in touch with that part of yourself that doesn't feel like it's enough, and then give it the love that it needs. But the easy short-term solution is just to add on what feels like too much time to any task or any journey that you have to do. If I'm traveling to see a friend 60 minutes away, I'll give myself 90 minutes to make that journey. If I get given a task that I think will take about 2 days, I'll reply that this will take me 3 or maybe even 4, depending on how urgent it is. It's not an issue if I then finish that task early. In fact, it looks really good for me. But if I continuously hand in things late, that's a problem. It's actually pretty easy to give yourself enough time. You just have to remember to build in the time and actually make yourself leave when it feels like you still have some extra time. Having buffer is not wasted time. It is a gift you give to your future self. And that brings me to the second way you can be kinder to yourself. Allow yourself time to transition between activities. We live in such a rushed society. If we want to get somewhere, we've got to get there as quickly as possible. If we order food, it's got to come as quickly as possible. When we go online, we've got billions of adverts trying to get us to click as soon as possible before our attention goes somewhere else. And there's just no break. Something is always constantly vying for your attention, and it is exhausting. It's so easy to move throughout your entire day, just going from one thing to another without any break to process what's just happened. We so rarely give ourselves time to pause and let our thoughts and feelings catch up with us. It's no wonder that we feel anxious all the time. If you're familiar with the concept of task switching, you'll know that constantly changing from one thing to another takes a lot of mental and emotional energy. You have to stop the task you're currently doing, save where it is in that useful information in your brain, then wipe it and clear it so that you can bring the new task in, and then apply your focus solely back to the new task. And you probably didn't have any time to emotionally process what just happened as well. Constantly switching from one thing to another is terrible for your creativity and for your focus. And yet, many of us wake up, glue into our phone, get stimulated by a bunch of different pieces of content we're looking on there, and then we've also got to get ready for work, travel to work, arrive at work, settle in. We've already done so much different task switching before our day has even properly begun. The solution to this is actually pretty simple. Give yourself a few minutes to transition between big tasks. Usually this is easy to do if you've already built in buffer to get the activity done. See the point I just made? For example, if you arrive at work and you're a couple of minutes early, or you've built in buffer from the moment that you've arrived, you can use that time to process your commute, because it's not normal for human beings to be in boxes waiting in traffic all the time, or in boxes underground moving at 30 miles an hour, and to allow whatever thoughts and feelings that have been running through your mind in the morning to calm down so that you can focus and feel grounded before you start your working day. Taking a minute just to process whatever you've just done isn't a weird thing to do. It is healthy and it is kind to yourself. And those little moments of self-care throughout the day will actually make you happier and more productive. And speaking of little moments for yourself, the third way you can be kinder to yourself is to take breaks. I know some of you won't work a traditional office job, so it might be a little trickier to squeeze a break in and you might need to get creative. But the principle still stands. Working does not mean being 100% productive for 8 hours straight. As much as our corporate overlords might dislike it, we're human beings, not robots, and human beings require rest and recuperation in order to function well. I used to never take breaks. I would get into the office and steamroll my way through any task, just boom, boom, boom until the very end of the day. And then I would wonder why I felt so exhausted and out of touch with myself. And my overworking didn't get rewarded with more time to rest and look after myself. It got rewarded by more work. And that was my fault because I had given false expectations around what I was capable of doing while still looking after my own health and well-being. I've since learned, thank God, to slow down and give myself little breaks throughout the day. For me personally, when I'm working, I like to stay in that work mindset. So when I take a little break, it's usually short, 4 or 5 minutes, and it's just to get a coffee and to kind of move my body and shake anything off. And I really try and avoid looking at my phone as well. These little breaks have made me feel so much better about life and have really made me enjoy my job a lot more. Now, rather than being glued to a desk all day, I have little moments that I can look forward to where I'm going to treat myself with a little bit of tea or a coffee or a nice little snack, and I can shake and move my body and make sure I'm feeling all right. You deserve to take breaks. It is healthy and it is kind to yourself. The fourth easy way you can be kind to yourself is to allow yourself to have off days. Not every day can be your best day. Not every day can you be 100% productive and perfectly punctual and perfectly always on top of everything. In fact, that's probably most days, but some days are a lot worse than others for whatever reason. You are a human being. You're allowed to make mistakes and you're allowed to be imperfect. If you're having an off day, try and notice that and then accept it. Fighting it is only going to make it worse. And make sure you pay extra attention to how you feel about the fact that you're having an off day. You might feel guilty or ashamed, anxious or worried about letting other people down. You don't owe anyone anything more than you owe yourself to look after yourself. Notice if maybe you're beating yourself up for being lazy or for being selfish by having an off day. You don't deserve to be spoken to like that. Speak to yourself as if you were someone worthy of love, because you are. And act like it by doing what you can to minimize your workload and the number of important decisions that you need to make on this day. Reschedule what can be rescheduled, and then, if it's possible, go and rest and relax and recuperate. And if you do have to stay and work and just kind of get through it, accept the fact that this is going to be a slow day, and then manage expectations with yourself and with people around you. Looking after yourself now might help prevent an otherwise avoidable error that you would make because you're off your game. So just do the bare minimum that you need to get through to do today, and then go and rest, have a good night's sleep, and the chances are you'll be feeling back to normal tomorrow. Finally, the fifth easy way you can be kinder to yourself is to let yourself rest early as soon as you notice that you're getting sick. When you feel yourself getting sick, you've got two choices. You can either push through it and hope you feel better and probably end up working for 2 weeks, kind of low-grade unwell, or you can stop, rest, and nip it in the bud, and hopefully come back in just a day or two. I have a colleague who's really good at this. The moment he feels like he's becoming unwell, he stops everything and just takes the day off. 9 times out of 10, he'll just take one day off and he'll be back right as rain tomorrow. Compare that to how I normally operate. If I think I'm getting unwell, then most of the time I think, I'll just push through and it'll probably go away. And then 9 times out of 10, I either end up miserable because I'm working and I'm sick and that usually lasts like a week or two, or I get properly sick and then I've got to take a full week off anyway. It's not brave or strong to push through when your body is telling you that you need to rest. It's dumb, and it's unkind to everyone. It's unkind to your boss because you're giving a false expectation of the work that you're able to do. It's unkind to your loved ones because you have unnecessarily made yourself unavailable by not listening to yourself and getting yourself sick. And it's unkind to yourself because you've not been taking care of your needs. It feels so counterintuitive to stop working the moment that you feel just a bit sick. But you need to trust that you know the difference between not really feeling like it and just being a bit tired, and actually when you are becoming unwell. Learn to trust the signs that your body is giving you. You'll be being kinder to yourself, and if productivity is your goal, then it will ultimately make you more productive because you're listening to the most important thing in your life. So that's my list of 5 easy ways you can be kind to yourself. Let me know in the comments if any of these resonated with you or if you've got other ways that you like to be kind to yourself. Make sure you hit like and subscribe if you would like more content like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.